Hello, sorry I've been away for so long. Life has just gotten absolutely crazy busy in the last few months. Just a little personal update. So, I got engaged to my longtime girlfriend, Carissa, which is obviously fantastic and wonderful news. And then, literally 1 week later, she was starting to feel a little bit ill. And wouldn't you know it, we're having a baby, everybody. So, life is just going full steam ahead at this point. Work has just been nonstop, working 50 hours a week or more every single week. And obviously we're trying to find a house now for me and Carissa and the baby. And so just life is all happening all at once. It's a very, very exciting time, but it's a very, very busy time. And there have been a lot of horror movies that I have seen, but haven't really had the time or at least the energy or mental capacity to get in front of a camera and talk about them. Today I have that time. Today I have that energy. And today I need that creative outlet. And so we're going to finally, at long last, do another video. We're going to do a little horror catch up, if you will. We're going to talk about Cobweb. We're going to talk about The Nun 2. We're going to talk about Talk to Me. And we're going to talk about, there's another one, buffering, loading. What is the fourth film? The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I forgot that movie, and apparently everyone else forgot to go check it out too, because that thing bombed at the box office in spectacular fashion. But revenue is not the way to judge creative merit. I've been on a bit of a vampire kick lately. I've been going back and watching a lot of movies like John Carpenter's vampires, like Let Me In, like Interview with a Vampire. Like I said, just been on a kick, and I actually went back and reread this chapter of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the part where Dracula is aboard the Demeter. And so I probably have some biases. I was probably a little bit more tuned up and ready for this film. I actually watched BBC's Dracula show about a year or two ago as well, and they had a really good episode on this chapter in Bram Stoker's story, to where he is aboard. He's almost like taking refuge on the ship and then taking off members of the vessel one by one, almost in slasher-like progression. And this movie did that same thing. And this movie doesn't feel like a movie that gets made anymore. It's kind of a middle-budget movie that kind of took on a period and time with all the costumes and the set design. I thought there was actually a lot to enjoy about The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I like this take on Dracula, this kind of more feral, imposing beast form, where you don't actually see him in his count persona very often, if at all. And I just really like that it had those slasher vibes, that you got to see him go after people and dismember people and chomp into people's necks. I thought at times there was, yes, way too much CGI, but I think more of this movie is actually practical than the eye might realize. I think we're now kind of set up to be quick to be like, oh, knee-jerk reaction, that was CGI, that wasn't real. And then I've started going and watching like behind the scenes or commentary on sort of favorite movies now. And I'm like, oh, that was actually practical? It looked off to me. Why did that look CGI if you're saying it wasn't CGI? Case in point, The Conjuring 2 with the Crooked Man, to me, that always looked like a visual effect or CGI. It looks wonky, it looks off, and then you find out it was practical, that that's a contortionist, and that was all done in camera, that he isn't a CGI rendered creature. And I think some of that is going on in The Last Voyage of the Demeter. There's, of course, shots that are absolutely CGI, and it's bad. You never want to see that in horror, but there's other ones that you may be quick to dismiss, and it's actually done practical. There was love put into this movie. There was TLC involved, and this was a director who knows what he's doing and knows how to shoot and craft horror, because he gave us the autopsy of Jane Doe. So is this what a lot of people are going to love? No, it's a little bit more slow paced. Like I said, it kind of feels like a movie that had been made in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like that was the last time they were producing movies like this. And the fact that it failed tells me we're not going to get more, which is kind of sad, because to me, it was a vampire movie that was kind of mean-spirited, lean, vicious, not about kind of the seductive nature of Dracula, not about high society, not about any of that, just a good old monster pick to where you were isolated at sea and you had this maelstrom casting the ship all over the place. Great setting, great scenery, great set design, great acting, a really cool, imposing Dracula. It just didn't resonate with other people the way it did with me. Another movie that really resonated with me that I have to talk about is Cobweb. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this movie. This is not one that had like a widespread release and was in theaters for weeks or anything like that. I found this on my TV one night. It was up there on the top banner. I have an Amazon Fire TV, and so Amazon was like, Nate, you may want to check this out. And thank you, Amazon. You were correct. This was my type of party. This was a good time. Like I said, spooky season is coming quickly, and this movie, Cobweb, it will be on my recommendations for a movie you should watch in October. There's so much autumnal atmosphere, so much it has you that, and that kind of Halloween mindset. You have a pumpkin patch, you have very fall-like setting in the suburbs, but the thing here is you're never really sure what is happening. I don't know how this movie will fare on rewatches, but for a first time go, the entire time it had me scratching my head going, oh, I don't really know what's afoot here. Things are definitely off. This story is about an only child, and there's something not right about his home life. The mom seems kooky. She seems bizarre. She seems like maybe she's doing things that are improper with this child, and she's just left a center. And then the dad, played by Homelander, he seems like he may be an abusive asshole prick who may have some skeletons in the closet. And you don't know if he's abusing the mom and he's abusing the child. You don't know if the mom is actually the ringleader of whatever's going on. Or you don't know if, at the end of the day, they just seem off because something very, very wrong is going on. Something paranormal that is besieging this home. And they actually know what is best. And outsiders who don't live in the home, who don't know this family, they wouldn't understand. And so they're very protective of their child, and they're trying to keep him close to them. And they don't like that his new teacher is kind of interfering and kind of calling into question his home life and what could be going on. Is he being abused? You at home watching this, you're like, I don't know. I'm with the teacher. I want to get to the bottom of this. But what is actually at stake here? I don't know who to trust. I don't know what's happening. Give me more. I need to go on this ride. But this movie just kind of grabbed me and had me really puzzled, which is awesome because I watch so many horror movies that anytime you can make me actually question what I'm seeing and what I am set for later in the third act, that is fantastic. Now, when they actually get to the reveal, it's going to work for some people. It's not going to work for others. For me, I thought it was great, even if there were some things that I would have liked to have been shown a little bit differently. I think the movie suffers from having a lower budget, but this cast, like I said, the guy that plays Homelander and the boys is just so good in this. And then Lizzie Kaplan always is fantastic. And both of them just take turns owning this fucking movie with all sorts of little micro expressions, little odd mannerisms, things that just add so much more flavor and depth to every moment and every scene and really lay into you having to ask those hard questions of who do I trust? What do I trust? What am I at the mercy of here? Cobweb is a really, really good little horror pick. Now, the next movie I want to catch up and talk about is Talk to Me. This is another little A24 darling that really outproduced its budget, made a lot of money for A24, and it's just another example why A24 has so many fans. Now, I do have a few gripes with the movie I want to get out in the forefront. One, this movie definitely falls into what I like to call the A24 sad fad. One of these movies that is a slow burn and is very much bogged down by it being tied to themes of grief, loss, depression, and maybe substance abuse. But that doesn't mean the movie isn't good. It just means that because this has become kind of the, what do you want to say, trend, or like I said, the fad, the sad fad, we've seen a lot of this. And I'm kind of getting just a little bit tired of it. It's starting to get a little bit stale to when I see these themes set up and I realize I'm in for yet another slow burn. I'm like, man, can we just make horror fun again and thrilling and high octane? That's just where I'm at. That is just a personal bias at this moment. But the movie is just made oh so well and by a team of YouTubers. So mad respect to them for going out, chasing the dream, and not just chasing the dream, but executing and delivering on that dream. And they've already been greenlit for a sequel, which speaks to the power of this movie and how effective these scares are. At first, it would be easy to kind of rebuff this movie and go, it sounds like this weird hand gimmick is nothing more than another Ouija board type of movie where we conjure up specters using this little centerpiece. And this movie could have very easily been that, but it's so much more because it does tie into those themes of loss and, to me, substance abuse, to where you might look at this weird hand and you go, wait. Why would these teenagers ever channel the dead? Why would they ever go to that plane of existence and risk it all? why would you do that for just a few little thrills? I mean, the fun level, okay, maybe it's here, but what you're risking is like up here. Why would anybody do that? To me, if you look at this as a story or a metaphor on like substance abuse or hardcore drugs, it's kind of like if you go to a party and you know, you need more friends, you don't have social acceptance, you may see people passing around something, especially at this age and this time point in life, and go, you know what? All of them are getting out unscathed. I want the social currency. I want to live it up. I want to let go. I'm going to go in. I'm going to get out this, just do it this one time, and then it'll be all right. I'll never touch this stuff again. But once you've had that peek in to that other phase or existence, you might go, oh man, I find myself, I need it. I just wanted to go just one more time. I'll do it one more time, and then I'll never pick the thing up again. I'll never do this. And so when you have a protagonist who has suffered the loss of a mother who is locking herself behind a bathroom door and engaging with this other phase of reality, it kind of then plays into substance abuse once more, that it would then be genetic and that she is more vulnerable and susceptible because she is suffering the loss of her mother. It's just very well done, very well directed, very tight script. And I thought they found a way to make paranormal ghosts and demons, if you will, very frightening and feeling fresh and anew when that thing should be very, very stale. How many ghost and demon movies have come out in the last 20 years? Like 10,482? 10,482 feels right, and yet Talk Me finds a way to step out and be different than all of those. And the fourth and final film I want to talk about today is The Nun 2. Now, Michael Chavez has done quite a few films in this Conjuring universe now, and I think he's had a very spotty record to date. There's obviously a line of delineation in this franchise when it comes to Conjuring films directed by James Wan, and then the ones directed by everyone else, including several entries by Michael Chavez. This is definitely him getting better as a director. I still think it's very much a meh film. It's very middle of the road. I'd give it a 2.5 out of 5, but there are some real steps forward for him here. I think he actually took more risk with this one. He dared to be way more bold and creative with this one, and that actually is much needed because when Valak showed up in The Conjuring 2, you're like, oh, we have a new horror icon. Valak is scary as fuck and has so much screen presence. I need more of that now. The Nun movie is going to scare my freaking pants off. And then you went and you were bored because it was too safe and too by the numbers. They do a good job of right off the bat in The Nun 2 trying to set Valak up as being way more terrifying and way more capable and potent as a horror antagonist. The problem is, they kind of do things in the opening that set Valak up as exactly that, as very capable, very powerful, and able to destroy someone if Valak wants to, so that when you get to the third act and all of a sudden Valak is struggling against our protagonist, it just seems kind of like, oh, we have to do that because the plot demands it. We need to wrap our movie up, so that's not great. Also, these movies, The Nun 2, they seem kind of tied to this plot device of we have to have some ancient Catholic relic that's going to save the day. In the first movie, The Nun, it was the actual literal blood of Christ, which is kind of eye roll inducing. And I did like that this movie kind of took that to task in the first act, where they actually have like an actual eye roll about it. Like, hey, can you believe we actually put that in a movie? How freaking stupid and awful and ham-fisted is that? They do that. And yet here we are in the third act having yet another Catholic MacGuffin thing that you have to go collect and it will save the day. And that's the key. And it just feels lazy and it gives you more of that painting by the numbers type of feeling. And I just want more than that, especially because if we want to set Valak up as something that is bold and can go places and has a reason for getting more entries in the future and can actually deliver on the terrifying stuff, we just can't do such a basic blasé type of approach to our film. The movie is still just a little bit boring in places, so it was a step forward. There were moments where I was like, oh, Valak's actually coming for people's throats. Valak is after it, but I felt like we still didn't go quite far enough. So if we get a Nun 3, I hope the chase scenes are played out a little bit longer. I hope we use an R rating and actually use the R rating. I hope we have some bloodshed. I hope we see some bones sticking out of skin, stuff like that. That we don't just go, oh, Valak's here, Valak's scary. Oh, the color is changing. Valak is modifying the habitat. And then it's over. No, really make Valak stay on the heels of these people. Really make Valak torment these people. And then just when you think this person may escape, Valak gets the upper hand. That's the type of thing we need. That's what's missing. That is what is really hamstringing the Nun movies, to where they're here and it's okay. It's popcorn fare. It's okay. It's all right. It's a good way to kill a Friday night. And it being a movie that you could actually go, oh, that was actually very scary. I'm going to watch this multiple times over, and I got to get the word of mouth out about what I just saw with Valak and the Nun 2 or the Nun 3. So there you go. That is the horror catch-up. Those are my thoughts on movies that I should have talked about weeks ago, just couldn't get around to doing so, but here we did it today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Which of these films is your favorite, and what movies are you looking forward to watching in October? Because we have stuff like Saw and The Exorcist Believer coming up very, very quickly. Let me know your thoughts on those down below. I'm Nate for natemareflix saying, I hope you have yourself a great day. If you would go ahead and hit like and comment, subscribe, all that YouTube crap, that would be greatly appreciated. But I'm just glad to be back. I'm glad that you guys watch this video. I'm glad to be engaging with you, and I'm going to do my best, despite being extremely busy, to get out some more content all throughout October. You guys have yourself a wonderful day. I'm Nate for natemareflix saying that's a wrap.